Earlier this week, we got an emergency update to XDefiant that fixed a few critical things to the game's stability. While we didn't see a very few requested pieces of the game fixed or updated, it was done in a simple effort to make the game playable on PlayStation 5 firstly, but also included some fixes for the PC and Xbox stability to further stabilize any issue to the game simply running in an acceptable state. That's great and it was much needed, absolutely, but what about the next update? What can we expect to see either in that or in the very near future? XDefiant hasn't really had, apart from Season 1, a massive, all-inclusive type of update, so it's possible that some of the things mentioned here in this one may not come in the very next one, but in updates, plural, in the very near future. But today I want to run down and discuss what's being tracked, acknowledged, and mention that there's fixes incoming to the game. So drop your thoughts on what you think of these coming changes, anything you'd like to see added to the list. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more coverage of XDefiant along with other FPS content. Finally, only if you want to support, you can use code Espresso in the in-game shop or on the battle passes in XDefiant, but again, absolutely no sweat if not. Anyways, let's get into it. So let's start out with the sort of big changes, the stuff that is going to be more impactful, I think, to gameplay than some other things that may just be like general bug fixes. Firstly, the one that everybody's been asking for is the return of the ability to shoot a Spiderbot off your face. That DeadSec ability that was seemingly one of the only counters that in-game, as soon as it happened to you, you could recover quickly. Otherwise, you're just kind of sat there and you take 40 damage, and you probably know that the guy who threw that is going to be close by, and you probably can just accept your fate. This one's an interesting to me because, firstly, I mean, this thing was described to be a bug that allowed us to shoot it off of your player's face in the first place, but also I find this interesting because Mark Rubin confirmed earlier this was going to be done in a few updates, not just one specific one upcoming, which makes me wonder the like logistics or like how this actually works, because I mean, when you think about it, it's you either have the ability to shoot it off or you don't. It seems like it's just a bug turned feature that would be there or not. So I'm curious to see how this is going to be implemented over the course of a couple of updates, but we should have some stuff here upcoming very soon to bring that back into the equation. Audio was also mentioned to have a full volume pass coming, and this is one I'd be curious to know more details of. The initial tweet mentioned footsteps, gunshots, grenades, and more, and I definitely have noticed the footstep volume big time, like huge game changer in terms of awareness if you have a headset, but I'd be curious to know specifics of what this full audio pass is going to do. Were some of these things intentional, like the footsteps? Will everything be reverted back? We just don't know specifics just yet. Now, if not only that, and they're talking about, say, audio bugs and quirks being fixed, you might have noticed a few. I think the most prominent one is the sort of kill ping effect that happens. That'll just happen to players randomly. I feel like it might be associated with assists or kills done well after you land a few shots of damage on an enemy that you didn't get the kill on, but I could be wrong on that one. But audio adjustments also seem to be on the way in some capacity. Ranked appears to be having some tuning coming as well, with an ability limit, 1 per player per team, which is going to be a huge benefit, I think, to ranked players. Phantom seemingly being one of the only chosen factions and abilities because that increased the base health. There's mentioned to be an in-game top 500 leaderboard. There's going to be a rejoin feature added, which is definitely nice, which is going to allow for a limited time back to join after you disconnect. There's going to be unrestricted ranked loadouts, having the ability to use all guns and attachments, a more robust sanction system, including additional RP penalties, more modes, more rewards, and more. So an overall, not necessarily overhaul to ranked, but a complete rebalance in a couple of different areas here, which I definitely think is nice. There are additionally faction ability bug fixes inbound here. So far, I've seen that this is a bug with Echelon's Intel suit and the Bayavita boost for Libertad. There might be a few more added into this equation, but I've seen those ones predominantly either both reported but also firsthand as well playing the game. It's mentioned that it's an odd bug that can occur near walls or elevated surfaces where if you activate it for whatever reason by either of those items here, and it seems like it's just random ones at that, not specific ones, but it'll just, you go and activate it and it just doesn't do anything. So that's one thing that happens, and then you cannot use that for the rest of the game, unfortunately. Right now, the only way that I know to get around this here is to swap abilities or factions altogether, though I'd say just swap your abilities so you don't lose your ultimate progress. Like for the Intel suit, you swap to the digital camo, and then whenever you respawn, you have that digital camo, switch it back to your Intel suit so that you can end up getting it your next life again. So that seems to be the only way that I know of to actually mitigate that right now, but a fix should be on the way for that. Additionally, it's mentioned that stats will hopefully have some fixes here so they're tracking properly as of this next upcoming update and beyond. Now, additional changes in terms of like smaller things here, there's a handful of different fixes that have been mentioned are inbound. There's a UI fix for the mastery skins in the menu where a couple of them, it'll just show a question mark rather than the actual camo icon, which I think is pretty funny. But again, you obviously want to see the camo that you can actually use. And on some weapons, it doesn't appear for those weapons you have it selected on in the menus. In game, it should be fine. The LVOA mastery camos end up messing with iron sights, making them smaller and harder to view out of. So that's something that should be getting a fix, and of course is something that does adjust your gameplay, but doesn't quite necessarily like break the game. It just makes it a little bit harder. There's been mention there's going to be further intel suit tuning and nerfs coming. Hopefully that can apply for a couple of other ones as well. I still think the Spiderbot could use a little bit of a further nerf maybe in the meantime before they add back in the ability to shoot it off. I also feel like I've heard it was bugged, that the sort of increase to the cooldown time, I feel like I saw a couple of people say that wasn't actually adjusted as it should have been. That might just be a bug on individual cases. But then the M16 had a cache bug where if you spawn, it'll randomly shoot 1 to 2 bursts on respawn. So you lose 6 rounds or so right after spawning. So those are your fixes that have been mentioned and acknowledged to be coming within XDefiant. But again, whether the course of this upcoming update, the course of a couple of updates upcoming, we don't have specific details just yet, but those are at least the things that we know are being fixed in a priority fashion. Now, beyond that, of course, that's not the only stuff that you can still look forward to in terms of like larger scale, because as we talked about, XDefiant is very much so being built with the community, by the community, where we're going to see more pillars of the game added as time does progress. Some of those further features, though they may not be in the upcoming updates, like this upcoming week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks from here, we still have things like a prestige system coming. That's something that has been teased for a little while. There are assets in the game files that point towards rewards being associated with this. So that could be something that comes before season 2, maybe with the season 2 launch. You still have kill cams up on deck that are being worked on. A mastery camo of some kind was something that Mark Rubin and the team had mentioned they kind of wanted to do, but right now it wasn't necessarily a priority. So that'll be something coming perhaps, but later on down the line. An in-depth career profile is still something being worked on. A ping system for enemies is still being worked on, and private matches as well are all still being worked on. So while we have some stuff that is like game-breaking bugs and fixes upcoming for that kind of stuff, there's some cooler stuff to still look forward to long-term that should hopefully be nice for quality of life in the gameplay overall. So that said, I just wanted to take some time today to fill you in on what you needed to know in regards to these upcoming changes, and maybe even some stuff still further out to get you excited for what the further future holds. But that said, just wanted to fill you guys in and keep you in the loop. But let me know your thoughts down below. Is there anything in particular you're hoping to see fixed out of the next update or next updates, plural? Let me know your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things XDefiant and other FPS content. We got a lot of stuff upcoming still I think you guys won't want to miss, so I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, again, only if you want to, you can use code Espresso in the in-game shop and or on the battle passes to support the channel a little further. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.